Good afternoon, Summoners! I am Digisphere.
And I'm Jay.
You're watching the Pro Gaming Series 2014 Summer Promotion. At ito na naman tayo ngayon. Maglalaban na naman ang matitinding teams na sa ating Pro Gaming Series 2014. So, Jay, kagabi nakita natin yung laban sa pagitan ng Team The Throne, team ng Pacific, team ng, I think it was the team ng, let's say the schedule muna for today's matches.
Yes, so yesterday we had the first matches with Team Pacific and Team Decipher.
Yes, so kagabi, naparoon natin laban sa pagitan ng Team Pacific at Decipher,
yes.
The Throne and Feast Comeback Cats as well.
Yeah, and today we'll have the Generation of Miracles going against Team Crying, followed by Acclaim 2 versus Mido G-Hub.
So ngayong gabing ito, ngayong hapon na ito, makikita natin ang laban first game between Team Generation of Miracles and Team ng Crying. Yes. Generation of Miracles, galing sila sa Iloilo. If you're not mistaken, they're the team na yung T5. So their team T5 dito against team ng Crying. Crying medyo hindi natin sila kilala. This is the first time makikita ko sila maglalaro sa competitive scene. And they are the top 2 ranked teams, challenger team ngayon.
Yes.
For this season.
That's right. Alright, so basically both matches today will be best of 1. Whoever wins will be facing off next week too, and whoever wins next week will be facing off against Team Mineski in this lower bracket. So mga kaibigan, looking at the bracket, kung sino mananalo sa laban na ito ang maglalaban to compete one another para sa kanilang stat against team ng Mineski next week sa ating Pro Gaming Series Summer Promotion. This is mga kaibigan, game muna tayo ngayon. Match between Team GOM, Generation of Miracles versus Team ng Crying. Yes, alright, so on the blue side we have the Generation of Miracles, and on the purple side we have Team Crying. First ban coming out from Generation of Miracles is the Lulu ban, of course, very popular pick and ban lately this season, being a very strong mid laner. Of course, there will be some nerfs coming into Lulu in the next patch. We'll have to see how this will affect Lulu in the mid lane.
Pantheon as well, even though he was nerfed nung mga decent patches natin dito, he is still very effective.
Yes.
Yung kanyang laning advantage dito, being the jungle champion, gamit yung kanyang Grand Skyfall, once sumabot siya ng level 6, hindi pa rin nababawasan yung threat na nabibigay niya against their opponent.
Yes, actually, if I'm not mistaken, there will also be some nerfs to Pantheon Skyfall. The range may be reduced, if I'm not mistaken, but it's nothing final, so it could still not be changed. So we'll have to see how Pantheon will evolve as the patches go along. Alright, so the second ban coming from Generation of Miracles is actually the Ziggs ban, another very strong mid laner, very strong AoE, provides some global presence as well. And then Nidalee ban coming from Crying as their second ban. Nidalee, very strong mid laner, could be played as support. We haven't really seen her being played as support in the pro scene, but most of the time we see her being played in the mid lane. It can be very strong or could falter behind in the game.
Medyo weird for me, I think it's kind of weird to see the bans from team ng Crying dito, but I think these both teams dito ay alam nila kung paano mag-play ang magkabilang panig dito. So they're aware na kung sino yung mga champion na possible pick against their opponent. But looking at the bans, mga kaibigan, they banned Lulu, Ziggs, Kha'Zix. They banned Pantheon, Nidalee, and Doctor. Usual ban for the rank solo queues natin.
Yes.
So it's hindi pa nila alam kung respect ban to against their opponent or ban ito to make sure na walang champion na maka-counter sa mga lineup nila for today na laban nila.
Yes.
But mga kaibigan, first pick na Team T5 dito or team ng Generation of Miracles, they pick up Leona para sa kanilang support.
Yes, and it's a very quick pickup. They didn't have to think about it. They knew they wanted the Leona. They want to lock her in right away. Very fast pickup coming from Generation of Miracles, picking up the Leona. They want to go for a hard initiation coming from the Leon, so definitely going to expect a really hard carry as well coming from P5. The ball, of course, now is in Crying side, where they have to decide whether they want to pick out their support AD carry in response to this or pick up their other lanes. Now, we see a lock-in right away from Renekton. That's definitely going to be their top laner. Morgana, possibly mid laner, most likely support. I feel like this is also a good way to protect the AD carry of Crying against Leona's stun combinations. Of course, she has the Genius Blade, and of course her Solar Flare, which could provide a lot of crowd control, which would be very hurtful for Team Crying's AD carry.
When you're using a champion like Morgana for the support role, kaya na sinabi natin kahapon dito, it's all about the execution of skills. Tatama yung Dark Binding mo. Yun ang sign for your AD carry to initiate a team fight. Kapag tumama yung Dark Binding to si Morgana in the bottom lane, make sure na merong follow-up from your AD carry dito to give the poke damage against your opponent para masabayan nyo yung laban dito. With a spell shield coming from his champion, I think this is the advantage na meron sila if ever nagagawin nila support si Morgana in the bottom lane. Morgana against Leona, we all know na hindi ma-effect, hindi gagana dito yung stun niya or yung first kill, yung Q dito ni Leona to secure another objective of killing a champion in the bottom lane. Since they have Morgana, they have the crowd control, they have the supporting skills from their teammates dito. Kung sino man na magiging AD carry niya, I think they have to make sure na meron siya pang escape mechanism skills dito. Like, halimbawa, yan, si Lucian. He's trying to pre-pick Lucian. Champion like si Lucian, Caitlyn, or Ezreal. Any champion na merong pang takbo kapag na-initiate siya dito.
Yes. Alright, so looking at the lineup now, Generation of Miracles actually picked up Jarvan the Fourth and Rumble. Now, Rumble, it's been a while since we've seen Rumble at all in the professional scene, especially in the local scene. And Rumble is a very strong champion, especially against most champions since he's dealing a lot of magic damage at early levels. But Renekton has sustained is a lot tankier than Rumble, especially in the first few levels. So I wonder how Rumble will perform against this Renekton in the top lane. Of course, like you mentioned, Renekton did receive some nerfs in the previous patch with his ultimate having lower HP and magic damage at the early levels of his ultimate. But in the later game, he gets much more tankier than Rumble.
It was like the same nung bago siya ma-nerf dito, but ngayon hindi siya ganoon ka-effective in the early part of the game. Pero pag umabot ng late game, doon mo makikita yung effectiveness niya.
Yes, I just realized that this is a very old combo coming from Generation of Miracles. The Jarvan the Fourth and a Rumble, where they can use the Creator and then lock them in with the slow, so they'll receive a lot of burning damage over time. Which is really hard.
The equalizer for the skill
the equalizer of Rumble
dito.
On top of the Jarvan the Fourth's Cataclysm.
Having Jarvan as their jungler dito, it would give an advantage as well for Yasuo to secure yung kanya last breath to make sure na tama dito with the knock-up damage or the airborne skill from their champion dito. They have Leona to support with that solar flare to make sure that they have the crowd control to dominate the teamfight na mangyayari dito. Looking at the picks of team ng Crying dito, they have Renekton, Vi, Kayle, Lucia, at Morgana. They have so much champion to secure the objective of protecting their AD carries dito.
Yes.
Lucian, I don't think namamatay siya kagad dito. They have the spell shield. They have the intervention from Kayle. They also have the shove, yung pag shove dito ni Renekton sa AD carry ng kanilang kalaban ng Generation of Miracles, kung saan he can just initiate using the slice and dice and then stun the opponent and then give the advantage. They also have the intervention from Kayle. If ever na siya ma-focus dito, he can be protected.
Yes, and I just want to point out the summoner spells for both teams are basically they're using the new meta. All of them are following the new meta. No one's picking up teleport, 2 ignites for the top lane and the mid lane, double heal for the bottom lane, and of course smite for the junglers. And of course everybody still picking up flash, as it is still the best spell to have around in any team fight.
For the mid lane, mga kaibigan, we're looking at Yasuo against Kayle. Both the champion is a melee champion, but meron si Kayle dito yung kanyang third skill or yung kanyang E to make sure na he can go to the he can switch to a range champion and then give a poke damage against his opponent. And Yasuo on the other hand have to make sure na with the wind wall, kailangan niya masigurado na maraming damage ang mawawala dito for their team to protect his teammates.
Yes, I just like to point out that definitely the top lane and the mid lane will be very interesting. These are not the usual lineups you'd see go against each other. Renekton versus Rumble, Yasuo versus Kayle. Very strong champions. We've seen them many times before, but not in this particular lineup going against each other. So definitely we'll be watching out for both the top laner and the mid laner. So while we're waiting for the game to load, we have a 3-minute delay as we're spectating the game. Let's talk about a little about a feature that Smart has provided for our game players this season.
Actually, if ever na mulan ka ng pabili mo ng skin o pabili mo ng champion, anong gagawin mo? Mga kaibigan, kung ikaw ay isang Sun, TNT or Smart subscriber dito, you can just go to epins.gamex.ph and then choose the game you are playing. We are playing League of Legends. And after may playing League of Legends, choose the green na shell denomination you want and then click add to cart. After may click yung add to cart, enter your mobile number and then you will receive the confirmation code and then send dito 3161. Yes. And after may send dito 3161, you will receive your e-pin to convert it to RP.
That's
so
right.
Yan mga kaibigan, thank you very much GameX na napakagandang feature at hindi na mahirapan ang ating mga gamer na bumili at sa hassle sa pagpila sa pagpili na kanilang mga RP dito.
Yes, alright, so thank you again very much Smart for this awesome feature. We'd also like to thank Raiders, who were our sponsor this season, for providing our peripheral, our headset, our mouse, and keyboard. Also, of course, all the pro players who came to play here in the Garena office got to experience the Garena equipment as well. So really thank you very much Razer for all those products that you gave us. Of course, Garena does have their program right now, the Game Booster. If you're interested, go to their website and you'll be able to join, follow the instructions, so you can win awesome League of Legends prizes and some Razer items as well.
So let's go back to the lineup mga kaibigan. For team Generation of Miracle, we have Rumble, Jarvan, Yasuo, Ezreal, and Leona. For the team of Crying, we have Renekton, Vi, Kayle, Lucian, and Morgana dito. Gaya na sinabi ko kanina, they have the protect for their team, they have the intervention, they have the spell shield, they have... May pagtakbo rin dito si Lucian, kung saan kaya niya makapag-disengage dito if ever na siya mapasok na kanyang kalaban dito. And then with the use of that skill, flash out, to heal pa as well para sa kanilang lineup dito. So in the bottom lane, it's all about how they will utilize the skills na meron sila. They have the heal, summoner spell, the stun coming from Leona, and the poke damage from Ezreal dito in the bottom lane.
Yes, actually, the pick coming from Crying, they picked up the Bane, the Vi. I don't find that a very good pick, especially since there's an Ezreal. If he ever uses her ultimate assault battery on Ezreal and Ezreal uses his arcane shift to go behind the tower, this could actually turn the fight around for them, especially it will be very hard for the rest of his team to follow up, especially with Jarvan the Fourth and Rumble laying down their ultimates. Of course, like you mentioned, the Equalizer and the Cataclysm could prevent the rest of the team following up on Vi team to back her up. So it will be very hard for Vi to actually execute her assault battery properly without getting negated from the team of T5 or Generation of Miracles.
At this point in time, mga kaibigan, we're looking at the lineup of team Generation of Miracle. They have Jarvan with the airborne skill, the skills as well from Yasuo dito. You have so much damage output against your opponent, but if I'm not mistaken, Kayle can counter Yasuo in any aspect in the laning phase. At depende to sa kung paano siya mag-dominate sa mid lane dito against Yasuo. Yasuo can just win any champion against any champion dito sa mid lane. Nakadepende rin sa kung paano yung playstyle niya. Last time I saw in the OGN, Yasuo is dominating against a Lulu. And it's kind of unusual. Lulu have the potential of poking his opponent, even though, yes, one thing is isa siyang range champion against a melee champion dito. Yasuo, kapag nag-proc yung kanyang passive skill dito, any skill na gamitin sa kanya ay parang mananal niya. So parang madi-disable ang lahat yun. At this point of time, mga kaibigan, it's all about the execution of skills and the ganks from the jungler dito for the mid lane.
Yes. Alright, so we'll have to see how Yasuo does. Actually, Yasuo is really a very strong champion. As long as he's winning his lane, he could practically definitely win against most anybody. But if he's behind in lane, he'll have a hard time dealing with most other, even without against his own lane opponent. But Kayle, like you mentioned, can go into range form using her skills there. She can harass Yasuo, but Yasuo of course has the spell shield, the wind wall rather, and he also has his passive, which prevents him from receiving too much damage from ranged champions. So we'll have to see if Kayle will be able to harass or provide enough pressure on Yasuo so he won't be able to play his game properly.
Yes, mga kaibigan, game muna tayo ngayon. Welcome to the Summoner's Rift match between Team Generation of Miracles versus Team ng Crying.
Yes, alright, so game 1 na po tayo. There is a slight pause, probably some last few seconds adjustments to their computer or their game settings, and then we should be on the way.
Jay, looking at the summoner spells in the top lane, we have Rumble versus Renekton, both a champion. Hindi pa sila ganoon na nakakapag-adjust sa ating meta ngayon. Hindi sila nag-switch to a teleport summoner spell. Well, they're most likely going for the advantage of trying to kill a champion or AD carry na kanilang kalaban dito. Kasi when you're using a teleport summoner spell, ang gagawin mo lang dito is split push and then respond every time na magkakaroon ng team fight with your teammates dito. But now they both have the ignite summoner spell. So ang gagawin nila dito ay mag-focus sila sa laning phase.
Yes, actually yesterday we saw that there was a team that used 2 teleports, and because of that they were weaker in the team fight since they had less summoner spells to use, and that cost them the game. They were a lot stronger in the laning phases, which we saw they were dominating at the early part of the game, but once they weren't able to use their teleport effectively in the team fight, they had a really hard time winning those team fights. Alright, so we're still just waiting for both teams to resume the game. Probably some slight adjustments they're still working on right now here.
So
looking at the lineups,
I think much better siguro. Sa tingin mo yung kukunin na item dito ng Ezreal? Will you go for the Bloodthirster Trinity Force item or the Bleed of the Ruined King and Trinity Force?
It's really hard to tell what kind of Ezreal build Ezreal will be going for, but looking at the lineups, I feel like I don't think we'll be seeing any level 1 invade, since there isn't really much to get from level 1 invade, especially this, as you can see here, Team Crying are just reconnecting back into the game here. Most likely, if ever anybody invades, we could see actually Team Crying invading, since they've got the Morgana who could use her Dark Binding.
I think something is wrong sa connection ng team ng Crying ngayon. Hindi pa rin sila gumagalaw. Unfortunately, hindi pa sila nakakagawa ng pesto nila dito. Gain the advantage of invading or defending their jungle buffs dito. But yes, I think if ever na magkaroon dito ng chance ang team ng Generation of Miracle, I think they have the advantage of winning the early invade both teams dito, mga kaibigan. Do you think, like what I've said kanina, Ezreal getting the items dito, it's either Blade of the Ruin King or Bloodthirster. Against Renekton hindi siya ganun hindi na ganun ka-effective, or I mean, hindi na ganun kalaki yung HP niya like before.
At the early levels,
using the Dominus as well, but
at level 16, his Dominus will be much more stronger than the previous Dominus, but at the level 6 and 11, he'll be, like you mentioned, a little bit weaker than the previous Renekton.
Yes, now, mga kaibigan, gamer tayo ngayon. We're back with the game. And I think, yes, nakapag-adjust na kahit paano ang team ng Crying dito. But Generation of Miracle somehow have the advantage since nauna sila sa pagpwesto nila sa kanilang mga jungle buffs to defend or to invade this game. So, I think with the Ezreal Leona combo in the bottom lane, they have the advantage when it comes to the poke potential.
Yes.
But take note, they're against Lucian and Morgana, both a champion, is a range champion. They also have the poke with the Dark Binding. They have the first kill coming from Lucian dito. So it's all about how they will try to win the laning phase dito and get the CS as well.
That's right. Actually, the lineup of Generation of Miracle relies to win the game early. They cannot reach late game. If they reach late game, especially once they come to the 5-item build on each champion, they will have a very hard time against the lineup of Team Crying. Both Rumble and Yasuo don't scale very well into the late game since they're very squishy in the late game. So they really need to win at the early levels. There we see here Ezreal poking down Lucian there. He already received the first hit of the game. Not that much damage. He'll be able to heal that up really quickly. Looks like it'll be standard jungle start for Team Crying here. As you can see, 3 members are already waiting for the blue buff to spawn here. While looks like Jarvan will start with his red. Basically a mirror to whatever Team Crying is doing here in the bottom lane. Alright, so Jarvan 4th picks up his red buff already. A little bit faster than Vi at the moment, and Vi should be able to clear his blue buff very soon. Here in the top lane, very interesting matchup, Rumble versus Renekton. Renekton, of course, is a very strong champion because of his sustain in the top lane. Right now, there won't be any changes to his skill in the near future because although he's strong, he isn't that OP since lots of people still are able to beat him if we play it right.
Yes, mga kaibigan, looking at the advantage in the bottom lane, Ezreal has somehow have the advantage when it comes to the CS against Lucian kasi mapapansin natin dito, even though both the champion in the bottom lane for Crying ay ranged champion, somehow with that mystic shot he can secure more CS than Lucian dito. And as you can see, sobrang aggressive nila. Hindi nila pinagbibigyan si Lucian ng chance to secure yung kanyang CS. And this is, mga kaibigan, Yasuo in the mid versus Skyra is taking so much damage, and Skyra as well have to disengage sa laban na yun. Kasi when you are against Yasuo, hindi mo hahayaan na makalapit siya sa'yo.
Yes.
Kasi you're using a ranged champion against a melee champion, and Yasuo is very effective. Have to been forced to use that flash out, and I think somehow it is worth it. Pero mga kaibigan, top lane Carousel taking so much damage. Have to use that flash out as well. Ignited. He's stressing the top lane, and yes, it's a first blood for team ng Generation of Miracle.
Yes, I was actually surprised Renekton did go back into that fight. He could have actually escaped from that if he had continued running, but he decided to go back and see if he could take down Rumble with him before going down. Feeling that he could not escape that gank coming from Jarvan, but unluckily, First Blood does go to Generation of Miracles, and Renekton goes down at level 2, or level 3 rather. Alright, down here in the bottom lane here, we can see here that Ezreal is in the lead in terms of CS here. Has a 5 CS advantage over Lucian. Here in the mid lane though, back in the bottom lane rather, there we see a hard engage comes from Leona.
Zenith Blade from Leona dito. Shield itself, taking so much damage in the bottom lane, and they have to disengage dahil nga sobrang hirap or sobrang pressured sila sa ginagawa pong damage na nagagaling kay Ezreal in the bottom lane. And stress in the top lane, have to disengage, mga kaibigan. Nag-overheat na siya dito. Have to use that slice and dice, and I think medyo nagkaroon siya ng miscalculation doon. Overextending too much in the top lane. And he thought he can at least get another kill, mga kaibigan. Akashi trying to gank the bottom lane. Medyo napa-advance ang kanyang pag-gamit ng Dragon's Rage dito. And yeah, he was ignited, mga kaibigan. Ragus taking so much damage against the kill after his flash out. Ginamit ang Volt Breaker na flashing as well. And one champion goes down. I think magkakaroon dito ng 1-1 exchange. And yes, it's a 1-1 exchange. And I think wala gano'n nakuha ng advantage since both the champion and the mid lane goes down.
Yes, Vi actually burning her flash there as well. So both champions, Jarvan and Vi, without any flashes now. Here in the bottom lane, you can see here that Ezreal and Leona are controlling the push here towards the tower of a Team Cry here. Ezreal, both Lucian and Morgana will definitely have a harder time at the early levels, but as soon as Morgana gets pick up a few more levels, she'll be able to harass better with her, of course, her skill combos. And hopefully she'll be able to provide some opportunity for Lucian to pick up some kills.
Yes, I think Yasuo is more focused sa kanyang sustaining the mid lane instead of getting the item like static shield. Mga kaibigan din naman ang Zenith Blitz. Nicknack taking so much damage. One more hit with that mystic shot. He can kill one champion dito. In the bottom lane, naman ang Dark Binding si Kisa in the bottom lane. And yet again, they have to disengage was again. I think nananalo dito ang team ng T5 or ang team ng GOM when it comes to the harass na ginagawa nila.
Yeah,
and,
Yasuo there just
somehow
taking
di ka na nagagamit ng maayos itong si Schnitzel ang kanyang Dark Binding or yung kanyang spell shield dito once na mag-initiate itong si Leona with a Zenith Blade. Yung si teammate, mga kaibigan, level 6 na po ngayon si Carlos in the top lane. So we have to disengage once again dito. Level 5 pa lamang si Rumble ngayon and medyo na mas naunang mag-level up dito si Renekton since nakuha niya kanina yung kill nang siya lang mag-isa.
That's right. Alright, so Renekton actually healed up, went back to base to pick up a few more items. He decided to go pick up a Negatron cloak there, definitely to prevent a lot of the damage coming from Rumble. Rumble is actually building straight into hunting, guys. We expect to see that really soon once he goes back to base. But at the moment, he's continuing to push the top lane. Here in the bottom lane, Lucian has already picked up a Vampiric Scepter, while Ezreal decided to go for an early BF sword. Looks like he will not be building the Trinity Force Blade of the Ruined King this game. Most likely, it will be a Bloodthirster.
Yes. So far ngayon, mga kaibigan, with that item advantage for Ezreal dito, medyo mas malaki yung poke damage niya. Kapag napagsabayan siya dito against kay Lucian. But kapag ang item mo dito ay BF sword instead of getting the Vampiric Scepter for your champion or for your AD carry champion, ang kailangan mong gawin dito ay maging sobrang aggressive at hindi hayaan na magkaroon ng matagal na laning phase kasi nga you have the advantage when it comes to the damage output, but yung kalaban mo kapag binigyan ng chance na makakuha or pumatake lamang ng minions dito, you will gain the advantage kasi nga nala-lifesteal nila lahat ng damage output from your champion.
Yes. Alright, so here in the top lane we can see here Rumble and Renekton still going at it. Rumble has reached level 6. He does have his equalizer if he chooses to use it, although based on the 1v1 fight, I don't think Rumble can beat Renekton once he uses his ultimate. He'd require probably some assistance from his jungler, and it looks like the jungler Jarvan is coming in here as you can see here.
Jarvan once again used the Cataclysm on top of the Carousel, taking so much damage against two champion of Team T5 dito. And yes, it's a 1 for an exchange. I think somehow maganda yung performance dito ni Jarvan, dominating the jungling route against kay Vi dito.
Yes, and actually, I think Rumble has not yet used his equalizer yet, so he still has his equalizer. He'll probably use it maybe to push lane if ever a huge minion of waves will come, as you can see here. In the bottom lane right now, we can see Ezreal continue to dominate at the bottom lane. His advantage is starting to grow a little bit bigger here. It's now 71 to 61, it's about 10 his advantage. There we see an equalizer like I mentioned.
Yes, mga kaibigan, a gang coming from Nixta dito. Have to use that assault and battery to kill one champion in the top lane. And yes, he goes down. At eto na mga kaibigan, Ragus against Skyra in the mid lane. Using that still Tempest very well. Make sure na makakuha siya na CS. At this point, mga kaibigan, Zenobit once again has been tapped out. Ginamit ng kanyang Dark Bind, Spell Shield secure to make sure na ma-defend niya yung kanyang teammates in the bottom lane. And Jay, do you think tama yung timing dito ni Morgana when it comes to using yung kanyang spell shield?
Well, so far, He's trying to prevent any follow-up damage probably from Leon. Of course, it's really hard to time that black shield onto your teammate, but it also prevents some magic damage, and like you mentioned, Ezreal's W skill actually does do some magic damage, so it will protect him still from any follow-up damage coming from Ezreal.
Kasi hindi ko pa nakikita na matiming ng itong si Schnitzel yung mangyayaring paggamit ng Zenith Blade ni Leona and then use of spell shield para hindi siya ma-stun dito.
Well, actually, I think it's okay if he doesn't block the Zenith Blade, since the stun from the Zenith Blade isn't really that much. It's basically only a route until Leona gets into place. But of course,
this is mga kaibigan, bottom lane na gang coming from the team members of Crying dito. Queen have taking so much damage against three of their opponents, mga kaibigan. Nixa have to use that fashion. Cataclysm, mga kaibigan. One champion goes down. 2 for 1 exchange na ito, mga kaibigan. And I think medyo nagkaroon ng disadvantage ito ang team ng T5 or GOM since medyo na-lead sila or respond coming from Jarvan dito.
That's right, but actually it's a good pickup coming from Team Crying. Renekton in a lot of trouble here in the top lane, going down to less than 1/4 life right now, and Rumble's ultimate is already up. Of course, Renekton does have his dominance as well. As you can see, he's using his pots to try to heal back some of that up. Probably use his calling to heal as well for those minions. There we go. Now back to 50% HP. Of course, Rumble does have the advantage and is continuing to shove his lane into his tower.
Actually, kung di siguro namatay si Nixta dito, Crying can somehow get the first dragon of this game.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he goes down and hindi sila nagkaroon chance to get that first dragon. But 4-5 ang ating score ngayon. Ang ating goal difference is in favor ng Team Crying. That score, mga kaibigan, coming from Nixta dito. You have to use that equalizer, and he was ignited, mga kaibigan, flashing from Carousel, and I don't think he can do anything para makapag-disengage dito. And yes, one more kill for the team members of Crying.
Yes, so that brings Renekton now to 2-2 and 0. Rumble is behind in kills 0, 3 and 2. Trying to build a little bit defensively now. He does have his hunting guys and his Doran shields. He decided to pick up 2 more cloth armor and some pots, of course.
He's most likely going for the Zonya or the Seeker's Armguard.
Yes.
It's his first item dito since alam niya.
He will need that Zonyas eventually, especially against Renekton. Probably hoping that his equalizer will be able to burn enough damage to most of the members of the team before his Zonya runs out. Right, so Kale is doing not too bad here against Yasuo right now. They're both 0-1 and 1, and the CS advantage of Yasuo is not that big, just about 7 or 8 CS advantage over to Yasuo at the moment. Kale is moving around the map right now, trying to put down some wards. So you can hear Vibe.
Vault Breaker once again from Nixta dito, and have to use that wind wall, but forced to use the dash. Makapag-disengage na mid lane. And I think sobrang nagiging nakakabawi ngayon si Nixta pagdating sa kanyang jungling route, mga kaibigan. Solid battery, yung about to go down. Ginamit ang kanyang last breath dito. Intervention just in time to kill one champion. Save himself, mga kaibigan. Pero one champion goes down. Isa 1-1 exchange. And Akashi taking so much damage against kay Nixta dito with this item. The Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Somehow have the advantage in terms of poke damage, mga kaibigan. Ito palitan, mga kaibigan. Rumble trying to respond in the mid lane dito, but medyo nagkaroon sila ng miscommunication, mga kaibigan. A flash out from Akashi dito. Nixta, equalizer at hindi mama doon, mga kaibigan. So dapat paglagyan, but with the last hit coming from the first kill or from the queue of Rumble, they somehow managed to kill one champion once again.
Yes, actually that's the first champion pickup coming from Rumble. Jarvan actually picking up all the kills so far, going 3-0 and 3. One kill also for Yasuo and Ezreal so far in this game. So it's now 6-7 in favor of Crying by a 1 kill advantage. None of the towers going down yet. As you can see here, the game is pretty even. I don't think these games so far, all the games since yesterday have been pretty close. Yes. There hasn't been any landslide, so I feel like all of these teams are kind of deserving to be here in this summer promotion, and they're really showing, doing their best to get into the
Sobrang agree ako dyan. Actually, kahapon, hindi mo malalaman kagad in the early part of the game kung sino talaga yung mananalo sa laban, but malalaman mo lang kung sino talaga yung magdodominate when it comes to the team fight na nangyayari in the mid game to late game dito sa kanilang mga team fights. But sama mo ngayon nakikita natin na talagang ang dikit ng laban nila. 14-minute mark, no dragon pa. Nakuha ng both teams.
Yeah, and actually after 14 minutes into the game, the goal is just about 300 difference. So it's really almost no clear advantage for any team right now. Everybody picking up their own kills and objectives. Gold CS is really even as well. Slight advantages to the left and right. but not by much for both teams. Like you said, no dragon pickup yet. Of course, you won't be seeing a Baron very early as well. Mostly everybody's just trying to pick up some kills and farm basically. So pretty passive game so far.
Yes, since they saw Yasuo recalling the mid lane dito, they got the chance to get the first dragon of this match. Mga kaibigan, Crying got the first dragon. Good job for their team.
Yes, good attempt coming from Ezreal using his ultimate to try to pick up the dragon there. Of course, his timing was a little bit off there, so Crying was able to pick it up without any problem. Looks like Renekton is starting to have trouble against this Rumble here. Rumble is definitely applying a lot of pressure onto this Renekton. The magic resistance is not enough.
Yes, this is mga kaibigan. Nakashi ganging top lane dito. Have to use that Cataclysm. One champion goes down once again at nakabawi sila dito. Not only they got one champion, but also a turret for their team. First turret of the game goes to team ng T5 or Generation of Miracle.
Yes, and actually that's exactly the combo I was mentioning a while ago. The Cataclysm on top of, the Cataclysm on top of the Equalizer. So basically, it will trap the opponent and do a lot of magic damages.
Ito na mga kaibigan, na set coming from team members of Crying. Have to use that Volt Breaker and Flashing as well. Assault and Battery. Have to use that Intervention to save one champion. One champion goes down. They're chasing down team T5 dito. Skyra have to use the second skill mga kaibigan to initiate and chase down two champion of team T5 with that slow coming from Stress dito. Just in time with the Reckoning mga kaibigan, have to use that flash out. Tinamaan ng Dark Binding dito in the bottom lane. Si Queen against two champion, he's not aware na merong ward dito. And they're taking, he's taking so much damage. The Kalas din tapped out. Flash out from Queen dito. And yes, somehow saved himself in the bottom lane.
Yes, that flash saved his life there. He would have gotten caught by the Dark Binding coming from Morgana and would have allowed Lucian to pick up a kill there. Lucian actually with one kill so far in this game. Very dangerous if he picks up any more kills, as Lucian skills very well into the late game. Ezreal, of course, also has the same potential as well. Both carries are sort of like caster carries, so it's actually a pretty interesting matchup.
Sa mga kaibigan, or Jay, I think 4-0-3 ang score ni Jarvan. And do you think it's a good idea to get the Spirit of the Ancient Golem instead of getting the Spirit of the Elder Lizard to at least accommodate yung advantage na nakuha mo in the early part of the game? So usually, ang mga junglers natin, kapag advantage sila in the early part of the game, or they have the dominance during the jungling route nila sa early part of the game, usually kumukuha sila ng Spirit of the Elder Lizard or getting the Brutalizer as their next item. Do you think para sa kanya champion dito, it's a good idea to get that item? But habang nagkakaroon tayong discussion dito mga kaibigan, Cataclysm for the members of T5 dito, one champion goes down, and I think they're about to get the first utility in the bottom lane sa laban na to.
Well, actually, Jarvan is definitely playing very high utility in this game, as you can see here, picking up everything he needs to force his team instead of going for, like you mentioned, that attack damage build instead. So it really is the player's preference. If he prefers to be a more straight out tanky player, even with advantage, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Alright, so it looks like all 5 members of Generation of Miracle are pushing here in the mid lane. They've actually picked up 2 towers already in the game, and this will be the third if ever.
Is it mga kaibigan? 3 vs 4 champion of Team T5 dito. Ginamit ang S ni Morgana. 1 champion goes down mga kaibigan. Akashi taking so much damage with the use of his first kill. 3 champion of Team Crying goes down. And it's a 3-4 an exchange in favor of their team. They are about to get the second third in the bottom lane. The Karas being tapped out. And yet again, with the use of that first kill and last breath as well, they're about to get the life of 1 champion. And yes, they do. It's a 4-for-1 exchange in total in the bottom lane. And the second third for their team.
Yes, that's actually, even though they lost a shield there, because of the really aggressive engage coming from Yasuo onto the Lucian, luckily Leona and the rest of the team were able to follow up to pick up another kill and another tower, giving them, of course, map control over Team Crying. Now, after all that action that happened, we can now see a slight gold advantage for Team Generation of Miracle. There's about a 1.5 gold advantage in favor of Generation of Miracle. Jarvan the Fourth, of course, going 4-0-8 so far. Very strong Jarvan so far.
Effective ito si Jarvan ngayon. And actually, with his performance using Jarvan for their team, it's a very good idea to get a pure tank Jarvan sa mga pagkakataong ito. Kasi sa playstyle niya, lahat ng ginagawa niya, siya lang ang talagang nag-i-initiate. Talagang never back down Jarvan to ginagawa niya. Ang gagawin niya dito, use the Dimash standard and then yung kanyang first skill dito to make sure na he can kill a champion or he can at least use the airborne skill na meron siya to secure the objective of disabling a champion dito.
Yeah.
Sa laban nila, mga kaibigan. 1 minute left bago mabuhay ang ating second dragon. 19-minute mark, mga kaibigan, and somehow nakabawi kagad ang team ng Generation of Miracle sa nangyaring clash sa bottom lane in the second tier turret as well for their team.
Yes, alright, so it looks like Crying will be clearing some wards there in the jungle river. Yasu is here in the mid lane to defend his tower. Jarvan will be picking up the blue buff for himself since Yasu does not need that blue buff needed as Rumble, so definitely Jarvan will be able to pull way ahead of Vi with his larger mana pool here. Vi, of course, spotting out another ward, does have the timer on the dragon. Looks like they are setting up for another dragon this game. This is definitely what's keeping them still in this game. As long as they can control this map objective, they should have no problems with dealing with T5 as the game progresses. Alright, so
12-9 ang ating score ngayon in favor of the team ng Generation of Miracle. And with the item advantage, mga kaibigan, meron ng Rylai's Crystal Scepter para dito kay Stress in the top lane, mga kaibigan. And eto na, Assault and Body Rest din tapped out from Nixta with the red buff, mga kaibigan. One champion goes down. Ezreal got shot down by their team. And 12-10 ang ating score. Buhay na ang ating second dragon. And I think medyo nagkaroon ng miscalculation dito for Ezreal. So nangyari yun. At giving the team Crying chance to get the second dragon of the team.
yes, alright, dragon will be picked up by Team Crying here.
Soul Shackle, mga kaibigan, is tapped out. The champion got stunned with that Soul Shackle, mga kaibigan, but he goes down as well. A dragon is nakuha ng team ng Crying dito ang dragon. Skyra got the life of Ragus, mga kaibigan, at itong palitan shutdown by Lucian. I think they can't do anything dito. 4 vs 5 champion, you can't win that team fight. And it's a 4-for-1 exchange in favor of team ng Crying.
Yes.
Very
Team
good
Crying
job for
actually got back. It's definitely a very good comeback for them after that last fight. They should actually try to push a tower or try to pick up an objective here. Only Ezreal is arrived. Looks like they are pinging for the Baron. Looks like they want to try to take the Baron at the 21-minute mark.
Ezreal can somehow manage to stop this Baron fight, mga kaibigan, using that mystic shot, poke their opponent dito, mga kaibigan. 4 champion don't have enough HP to make sure that they can get the Baron they want. But somehow Ezreal trying to give so much bulk damage against his opponent, mga kaibigan. Still, he have it. Cooldown pa rin ang kanyang true shot barrage dito, but yes, it's Baron for team ng Crying dito.
Good pickup coming from Team Crying here, picking up the Baron. Ezreal doing his best, like you mentioned, to slow them down. Of course, the rest of the team are not able to get there in time. As you can hear, Jarvan leading the charge. With his boots of mobility, he's able to get there really quickly. Of course, there we see Morgana spotting him out. Another tower being pushed by Generation Miracle. As long as they can continue this push, they will actually still have the side advantage over Team Crying because they have superior map control over Team Crying at the moment.
I think kanina nangyari talaga, ang malaking pagkakamali dito ng Team Generation of Miracle ay pinilit nilang i-defend yung dragon na yun. Since they already lost one member for their team, they should have let Team Crying to get the dragon. So it's not a worth it trade for their team.
Yes, Team Crying now actually has a 4k gold advantage through that last team fight. Dragon and Baron buffs that they picked up. So 3 objectives they were able to, or 3 gold sources that they were able to pick up really well there. We see here they're putting down a ward into the ready warded bush of Team Crying there. So they're trying to get back some map visibility here. As you can see here, there's a lot of wards concentrated in the mid lane and in the river as well. Alright, so the game's a little bit passive. It looks like both teams don't seem to know what they want to do here. As you can see here, members of Team Crying, or 3 members are still defending in the mid lane, while 2 members are trying to farm both top and mid lane. Lucian has decided to go back to base to pick up a few more items. Looking at his items right now, he does have a Trinity Force and a Bloodthirster so far. Same with Ezreal, so basically an identical build. Of course, Ezreal has a slight advantage over him since he has a slightly larger CS advantage and kill as well, so he has already picked up his Berserker Greaves.
One reason kung bakit nagkakaroon pa rin ng advantage sa team ng Crying dito, even though they have the 3-1 score when it comes to turret destroyed, is it because the mid, the first tier turret ay hindi pa rin naisira. So they still have the map control na kailangan nila. This is mga kaibigan, team fight coming from team members of Crying initiated mga kaibigan with that intervention to kill the one champion. Ezreal taking so much damage and he goes down mga kaibigan. One more hit mga kaibigan with this. The last breath coming from Ignak dito, double kill for Yasuo but an ace for a team of Crying. Nice initiation for the team ng Crying dito.
Yes,
very good job for their team.
Actually, Kale's intervention doing lots, preventing a lot of the burst damage coming from a team Generation of America. And this is definitely a huge comeback for Team Crying. They're able to push down 2/3 in the mid lane. Very high map control over here. Advantage. Here we see an instant replay of the team fight. Dark Binding landing to Rumble, a burst damage blowing up practically Rumble almost instantly. Him not able to use his equalizer. A Black Shield protecting one of the members. Jarvan using his character to slow down the strong push coming from a team Crying, chasing down Ezreal. Renekton picking up the kill there. Renekton being a very tanky member. Of course, we see here Yasuo trying to slow down the members of, but this is not enough for 2-for-5 exchange in favor of Team Crying.
Unfortunately for Yasuo a while ago, I think ang isa naging problema nila dito, hindi niya nagamit kagad yung kanyang last breath.
Yes, because he was there was no knock up, and when he had his Q to knock them out, it was already too late for him.
Actually, nung nagkaroon siya ng chance, ubos na yung kanyang teammate dito.
Yes,
and unfortunately, hindi niya na-utilize na maayos yung kanyang last breath to at least make sure na meron silang damage output against their opponent and also to protect for Ezreal. Unfortunately, Ezreal goes down as soon as possible na nakita siya dito ng team members of Crying. They don't want to let go that Ezreal dito to give him the chance to free hit sa mga teamfight na mangyayari.
Yes, alright. So, early in the game, we saw that Team Generation of Miracles had a slight advantage after, of course, those 3 objectives and that last team clash and push in the mid lane. A big swing in gold has gone into favor of Team Crying. Now, it's now an 8.8k gold advantage for Team Crying. Now, all Team Crying has to do is play their game properly, or play their game smart rather, and they should be able to continue pushing this game to victory. Right, Yasuo has already picked up a Banshee's Veil to prevent getting caught. Of course, we saw there a Rumble a while ago getting caught by the Dark Binding. Did cost Generation of Miracles that last team fight. I was surprised that he didn't at least drop down his equalizer to slow down the members of Team Crying on collapsing on them. So here we see here Generation of Miracles 4-man straw will be able to take out the third. Jarvan's right behind them right now. Surprisingly, none of Team Crying was there to defend that. So, good pickup coming from Generation of Miracles so far.
Alam mo, napakaganda lineup ang talagang ang champion pick dito ng Team Crying. They have Kayle, they have Morgana. Kung mapapansin mo, Morgana is not hesitating to initiate the team fight dito. He's using the Soul Shackle just in time and also yung kanyang spell shield to make sure na they can survive the team fight na mangyayari dito mga kaibigan. Dragon attempt for the members of Crying. But an initiation mga kaibigan, tinamaan ang knock-up damage dito si Skyra. Skyra taking so much damage, have to use that intervention just in time to save himself. And yes, he's taking so much damage against 2 champions. Lucian somehow managed to kill the one champion mga kaibigan. It's a double kill for his champion. Renekton at least trying to show back itong si Ezreal and Leona, but he can't survive team fight that 2 champion. Triple kill for Lucian. Somehow he's still chasing Leona and Ezreal dito. Kise and Queen. I think it's a pentakill mga kaibigan. If he somehow managed to kill this champion mga kaibigan.
Dark Bind misses.
Dark Bind mga kaibigan missed out from Morgana. And Queen don't want a pentakill for
yes. And definitely he needs to survive that. If he doesn't, it could be GG already. As you can see here, only the inhibitor will be stopping Team Crying from ending this game. They have a few minutes coming in and they're 3-man strong here, and with the death timers are pretty still short, so it looks like T5, or sorry, Generation Miracle will still be able to defend this base. Of course, the inhibitor will be going down, allowing some super minions coming from Team Crying pushing down in the mid lane. So it looks like Crying will rotate to pick up this dragon here. A ward being cleared using the Hectech Sweeper. Of course, Leona laying down a ward there in the Dragon Pit. Nice Dark Binding slowing down Leona from initiating.
Ginamit na niya dito ang kanya Solar Flare trying to steal the dragon, but Nyx somehow managed once again to get that dragon and have to use that Cataclysm for Makashi dito. One champion goes down for Team Crying, and I think it's a 2-for-2 exchange na mga kaibigan with the use of that intervention from Kayle. One champion mga kaibigan for team ng T5 or Generation of Miracle dito, trying to run for his life. Ezreal against 3 champion. Tinamaan siya ng Reckoning mga kaibigan. He have to use the flash out. And I think cooldown pa ang kanyang Arcane Shift and he can't do anything para makapag-disengage sa laban na yun.
Yeah, so only Jarvan alive there. Jarvan went back to base right away. He now has to defend the space against 3 members. The life, the life...
I think medyo napaaga. Medyo napaaga pag initiate nila doon sa Dragon Fight na yun. Yeah. Supposedly, since you have the ward inside the Dragon Pit, you should have waited the right timing to initiate and use that smite to steal the dragon.
Yes,
unfortunately, medyo nagpag siya dito. And this is mga kaibigan, team crying, it's not wasting any time mga kaibigan, trying to push the Nexus. And it's a win for their team. Sa laban ng first game of the Pro Gaming Series, the summer promotion goes to team ng Crying. Very good job for the team.
Team Crying. Of course, this is only a best of 1 match, so we won't be seeing any game 2. Crying will be proceeding to the next ladder of the tournament. Whoever wins the second game of the day, which will be between Acclaim 2 and who's the other team? Acclaim 2 and can I have the scheduled operator?
I think it was team Acclaim 2 versus team ng
Mido G-Hub. Yes, the Mido G-Hub, we actually had a tiebreaker match between them and Rage, Wargod's Rage.
And so, sa lahat din nakakala mga kaibigan,
won against them.
Yung nangyari laban kanina, Team Generation of Miracle versus Team ng Crying, Team GOM from Iloilo, and Team Crying from Manila. So mga kaibigan, looking at the match stat, as you can see, nakita natin kanina yung napakagandang performance ng Team T5. Or I mean, ng Team Generation of Miracle to dominate the early part of the game. Unfortunately, hindi sila ganun nakakapag-secure na kanilang objective or advantage during the mid-game dito. At ang talagang naging turnaround nila dito kanina ay yung Dragon Fight. Ezreal got picked up in the team fight kanina and that gave the disadvantage for their team trying to steal the Dragon.
Sadly, actually, I'd have to say the MVP would have gone to Jarvan the Fourth if they won the game. Jarvan performed really well at the early part of the game. He made a lot of plays for Team Generation of Miracles, but at the end of the day, we saw that Lucian was a monster. The player, or Knick-Knack, was a monster on Lucian, and because of his excellent play, almost picking up the pentakill, could have allowed them to win the game.
Sobrang zigzag nung laban. In the early part of the game, I thought Crying surely can win this game. And then, maya-maya lang konti, Generation of Miracle somehow managed to get payback for their team. At unti-unting bumawi na naman ng team dito ng Crying. And they won the game. So mga kaibigan, hintayin lang tayo dyan. Meron pa tayong laban mamaya sa pagitan ng team Mido G-Hub at team ng Acclaim 2. Pero bago ang lahat, Jay, if ever na maulan ka ng RP pambili ng skin or tinatamad ka lumabas sa bahay mo, pero meron kang load.
Yes,
so, anong gagawin natin? Meron tayong feature from GameX or ang tinatawag natin yung epins dito mga kaibigan. Just visit epins.gamex.ph. After may visit yung site na yun, choose the game you're playing. We are playing League of Legends.
Of course, League of Legends.
And after may piliin yung League of Legends, choose the rin na denomination shell you want. If ever gusto mo ng special skin, syempre gusto mo ng 60 or 50, ganito ganyan, 100, 200, 500, depende sa'yo. After mo piliin yung ganyan na shell denomination na gusto mo, click add to cart. Ngayon, naklik mo na yung add to cart, enter your mobile number. Take note mga kaibigan, para lamang to sa Sun, Smart, and TNT subscribers. Ngayon, after may lagay yung mobile number mo, you will receive the confirmation code and send it to 3161.
Yes.
After mo send sa 3161, mga kaibigan, you will receive the ipin amount you want.
That's right.
So, ganun lang kadali. Less
dali.
hassle. Hindi mo kailangan pumila ng matagal at bumalik ng green na shell, pumunta pa sa labas, mag-mall. Thank you very much, GameX. So, mga kaibigan, I am DJ Sphere.
And I'm Jay.
You're watching the Pro Gaming Series Summer Promotion 2014. Kita-kits tayo ulit after a few minute break.